and you're poking around Central Illinois. Look up CU Bands and Fans.
Hello, everyone. This is Terry with CU Bands and Fans, and I'm here with...
I'm Zakk Widup.
And we are getting ready to do our 5th podcast, brought to you by Homegrown KIO. Homegrown KIO is on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. with artists and music and songs that have been recorded actually live in Champaign-Urbana, and the artists are all from Champaign. Artists such as Head East and REO, and last night they had on Candy Foster. So it's local. It's a jam-packed hour of fantastic music from Champaign-Urbana, hosted by Larry Fredrickson and David Leake. So we thank you, Homegrown KIO. We'll see you next Sunday at 7. We're here today with some singer-songwriters, Leighton Ewers, Zakk Tomkins, David Woolridge, and David's son, Dalton. And this podcast is going to be mostly about the fact that they're songwriters and they are in our area. So let's start with Leighton. Can I call you Leighton?
Yeah, you can call me Leighton, Lee, whatever works for you.
All right.
My what I've been going by is Leighton. It's more of a unique name, so kind of if you know it, you know it. So that's kind of why I went with that name. Go with my whole name.
Recently, you have released an EP CD.
Yeah,
Am I right?
my first EP. Very excited about that. I've been working on that for probably 2 years, and I was working on it before I ever knew I was going to record anything. Got kicked out of a band, and then I started doing my own stuff and started putting it out there. And my producer Bill Demkov watched it, and he's like, "I'd like to work with you." So he and I went to Nashville and recorded down there. We recorded 4 songs, only 3 made it to the EP so far. We're still working on the 4th one.
Well, it turned out really great. I've listened to it. I've downloaded it. I've got it on my song list. Where does your music come from? How long have you been writing music?
I've got a composition book here, and as I go back, I think I've been writing. That's not even the one I started with, but I think I've been writing or trying to for the past 17 years, maybe 20 years. And then finally, things started to click, and I started to really believe in the songs that I was writing. And, it all goes back to playing with David and Brian around a table, sitting there drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, and just playing as many songs as I could let them, or as they would sing. And it was so inspiring just to sit around with them. I always wanted to be a songwriter because of the way they told their songs. Johnny and Mary was probably my very first favorite song, and a local song that I learned, and I know that song by heart. So that kind of inspired me.
And that song, Johnny and Mary, is David Woolridge's song, right?
Yes, okay. Yes. So the David I'm talking about is David Woolridge. So, I always wanted to be a songwriter, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot of believe in yourself. It takes a lot of the heck with everybody, and I'm gonna sing what I'm gonna sing. And then I started writing stuff about just what I know, music really. Long Road was one of the first ones that I wrote by myself, and I really didn't see that song like projecting me or manifesting me to go to Nashville, although I wrote it about it's a long road down that music row. And when I recorded it, I'm looking at Music Row. So it was really, a manifestation of sitting here dreaming about something and then watching it become reality. So it was very cool.
Like a full circle kind of a thing.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, with all the inspirations I've got, and like I said, David is one of my biggest inspirations of writing, and just watching how far he's come. And then now, like Zakk and I are entering the music scene. Jack, which is also supposed to be here, but missed it, probably at work. Yeah, I mean, all these guys, we all inspire each other. So that's where it all comes from, really. Which
is kind of the reason I chose you guys plus Jack, but unfortunately Jack couldn't be with us. But that's the reason I chose you guys, is because of that connection that you all have together. You're a part of the music scene that's a little bit unique. Kind of, I don't know how to put it. Like, I don't want to say set aside, but you guys are on a different road. You know, you have like all this music and the bands and the cover bands and all of that are like, you know, the central kind of thing. But you guys are over here on this, I'm a country road, I guess.
Right.
I would.
And I don't think that any one of us care about that mainstream. I feel like, and for me personally, I feel more like the more mainstream somebody is, the less interested I am. And you know, I don't mean any offense to that, to anybody that's doing mainstream music, but the more mainstream it is, I just feel like I'm less connected to it. So it's like, you know, these kind of songs that we have, the kind of recordings that we do is it's about us. It's about you. It's about everybody that lives in this area, or like February. That's one of the songs on my EP. If you live in Illinois or you know, above the line where it gets cold, and this month, I swear, is the longest month. It's 28 days long, but it's so long. So, you know, I mean, like that's regional and local. So that's why I gravitate towards the songwriters around here. I mean, I've been watching Joe Stam, and Joe Stam's been doing a lot of stuff about Midwest AF. So we'll keep it PG. But
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
follow him too. So
yeah. So those all these artists around here, and the way we collaborate and we listen to each other, I think you know, it's not just our circle that we're inspired by, but we're inspired by everybody else around us.
yeah. Okay, so David.
Yes.
Yes. You and I have worked together and collaborated together a lot as far as like putting video to your music. And actually that's kind of how I met, I think, Lee was just through you, and through you I met Lee and Zakk and Jack and all of them guys, which is like a whole nother entity of music. It, I guess, is what I was trying to say with the road thing, but really what I mean is you guys are a different entity. When I began CU Bands and Bands, I went to the Rose Bowl one night. I'm huge on lyrics, like that. You all know that. That's my favorite thing, is really good, deep lyrics. So I went to the Rose Bowl, and it was I can't remember what the show was, but anyway, I met Scott there. We just kind of ran into each other in the alley, and from there I just knew he was different, because come to find out, he was an original artist and he had his own music. And so me and him would spend 3-4 o'clock in the morning, you know, sitting in Bunny's parking lot or whatever, and he would sing and we would just talk about music, like literally almost all night long. So I really gained a perspective of original artists, and they're different. They carry their soul and protect their heart and all that stuff. So it's difficult for you guys when you first start to get out there and sing to people your music. I think you guys struggle with that in the beginning. I could be wrong. I don't know. David, do you?
A little bit, I think so. It's even now, it's if you write a song where it's real personal to you or something, that's kind of hard to share with people to start with, you know, but because you open yourself up.
Yeah.
And I'm just so quiet and laid back normally anyway, so it's the difference in me performing songs I wrote and sitting at, you know, and not doing it. There's a big difference in personality. Plus I'm the old guy in this group too, so
Yeah.
guys like deal.
You just cut out, unfortunately. What you said, you were the old guy, and then what did you say after that?
I said I'm just glad those guys let me hang out with them.
Oh, please.
But I know there's times he's like, you gotta go do something, Dad.
Well,
So
if I can break in
go ahead.
just for a second, I would say, David, if it weren't for you, none of us would be here.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I don't think I would have, myself, I don't think I would have been enlightened so much into singer songwriters, if it wasn't for David, honestly. So, and then Zakk, like suddenly you're kind of on the scene. How'd that come about?
Yeah, so I grew up, my dad played bands and stuff back in the day, like mid to late 80s around here. Bunch of 80s hair metal cover bands. They had a few original songs and stuff, but they were doing, Docket and Firehouse and all that kind of stuff. So when I was really little, my sister's, what turned into her bedroom was his recording studio, and I just sit in there and jam out with my dad. And I learned a little bit. And then as I got older, I got into different stuff. And the way that kind of this whole singer-songwriter thing started was, it's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to play and sing. And, I really enjoy all this kind of acoustic recordings and guys putting their heart and soul out there, things like that. And about a year and a half ago or so, my wife and I just decided one night, I knew my way kind of to start, I guess, and see where I would end up would be to try to hit some of these local open mics up. And I saw they were having one at West End Pub in Bement. And at the time, Jack Daniel was running that. So my wife and I just went over, and, I'm kind of like David. I guess I'm usually pretty laid back and kind of shy for the most part. And so we just kind of sat at the edge of the bar, and I happen to know Lee before that night a little bit from a previous job and everything, knew who he was. And they were just really cool guys, and were like, hey, do you play anything? There wasn't a whole lot of people in the bar. And I said, yeah, I play a little bit. And I always kind of joked that they got me just enough drinks in me to get the courage to get up there and play. So I played, I think at the time I knew like a total of maybe 2, maybe 3 songs that I could play all the way through and sing. And so I got up and played at that open mic, and I had a blast. And they were so, Jack and Lee were just super, super supportive. And so I came home from that and just kind of committed to, okay, this is something I've always wanted to do. Nobody else is going to do this for me. I'm going to start putting in the work now. And from there, I've had a lot going on personally, kind of led an interesting life, I guess, and had a lot going on the last year and a half or two, and some things that I need to get off my chest, and writing these songs and sharing that with people was a perfect way to do it. And then I was fortunate enough to meet David and meet you and Zakk and everything. And it's just kind of grown organically from there, really.
Yeah, that's because like, suddenly there was you. And then it's just so, what is so great is all the support that you guys give each other, and you guys also promote each other. You can see that on your pages, and you're very supportive of each other, and that's huge. That's really huge. Instead of competing against each other, you just kind of like lift each other up. That's fantastic. So David, you have how many CDs and EPs do you have already recorded?
2 EPs, and we're working on a new full-length album.
Do you see Lee? Can you see what Lee's doing?
No,
Right here. You see that?
no.
I got one sitting right next to me.
There we go. That's the first one.
That was awesome.
That was King of It All. I think that's got 7 songs on it.
Yeah, King of It All. Hang on.
It's Dustin's going to get her stack.
Well, my dog just went stupid anyway. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, there we go. Right there.
Yep.
King of It All. Who do I got back there? Oh, Cosmology. So yeah, King of It All has 7 songs. 7
Yeah.
great.
That was just recorded kind of mostly live, not like live at a bar, live in this. We didn't like do separate tracks and stuff. We just kind of gathered around and played, and then we added, guitar and basses on a separate track. But me and Tim just went in and did our songs. He played the tone, I played the guitar.
Who recorded this?
Dustin Danger.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Out of
And then-
Oakland.
And we have Drifter that Derek Price and I did. I don't even know. Was it 2 years ago? One or 2 years ago.
Has that been 2 years?
And I think it's been close. Yeah, because we did it the summer when COVID first hit. So yeah, 2 years. Coming on 2 years.
My God.
And then my boy went to school to do all this, and I had chances to go record different places. And after me and you talked, and we thought, well, I might as well just invest my money and time into Dalton here because I think he does a good job. So and this CD we're working on now, I'm going to be proud of. The songs that we do have done or almost done are really good. So
Yeah. So Dalton, yeah, because I know David and I talked about, recording and where he was going to record and all that. I was like, and he brought you up, and I was like, that's a no-brainer. Support your son who's supporting you and just have it recorded with. What a special time. That's really something to be treasured.
It's always been a way to bond for us. Music has been.
Yeah. So is this your first that you're recording or no?
This will be my first full-length album, but I've done a couple singles for a couple friends of mine and just, all my school projects, but this will be my first full-length album.
So are you going to have a recording studio? Do you have one, or what's happening there?
We're just, bedroom recording right now, but the goal is eventually, to get my own studio.
we're working on it.
Oh yeah. So, I kind of have to have some stuff to give people, in order to get them in the studio. So depending on how getting my clientele.
Yeah.
It's like that whole thing of you have to have credit to get credit, so like building your music, building like whatever it is, like Dalton, building a studio, building our fan base, you have to have credit to get credit. How do you get there?
Well, and if you make a quality album in a bedroom, just say, think what's going to happen whenever I have actual space,
Right.
Exactly. And I have heard a little bit, not all of it, but David will send me a little bit of what's been recorded. And I am going to say truly remarkable. You are doing a fantastic job. It sounds so good. I cannot wait until it's done.
Thank you.
We have good musicians playing on this too. So, we got Chad Sherman doing all the bass work. He was in my opinion, he's probably the best bass player that I've ever played with. And he works good with us, and he blows me crap. So, but we got one of Dalton's friends doing steel guitar on some of them. His name's Mike Conway. And his friend Mark has put some drums and some piano. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I think I'm pretty stoked about it.
When do you think this is going to be released? Do you have an estimated idea?
Well, you want to say it?
Our goal is by midsummer, hopefully.
Oh my God! You gotta wait.
I'm curious, for each of you, who were some of your musical influences?
We got Ronnie Van Zant Jr. over here. I'd say
I love Ronnie Van Zant. Yeah, big influence. But my uncles, when I was growing up, my dad had a bluegrass gospel group, and they played all over the place. They were on the they were on the bluegrass circuit, and they played with some like the Bill Monroe circuit. So they did a lot of shows with Bill Monroe, and I was a little kid running around them festivals. It was a cool thing. And then I got into rock and roll, and Ronnie Van Zant's probably my biggest influence on that, and then all the old country stuff.
For me,
go ahead.
Play musically, honestly. I can listen to anything from 40s swing to modern pop. I'm all over the place. I would say for producing wise, the Black Keys, Dan Auerbach, he's got his own studio, Nashville Easy Eye. I get a lot of my ideas from him. I love everything he does. He's a great musician and great producer. So
That's what, let me interfere. We'll get back to Zach and Lee to answer that question, but let me just interfere for a minute with Dalton. Where did you get this? Like, what made you want to do what you're doing?
I've always loved music, and I'm
David.
you know, my biggest character flaws, I'm not a self-motivated person. I've picked up guitar probably 5 separate times and put it back down. I've actually been very consistent on it recently, but this was just something I've always loved every kind of genre of music, and I've always thought that I could bring different elements of different stuff into it. So like a lot of Dad's old songs that you hear on those other EPs are going to be completely revamped and completely redone just because of my vision on how I've always pictured him. So I guess just taking
love that.
elements of stuff and mix it into music or different genres. So I would say that's really why I got into producing.
I love that. I can't wait to hear what you do with this, to all of it. How many is going to be on there, David?
I don't know. I'm changing my mind all the time. There was going to be 12, but I've got it down to 10, and I might take another one off. I don't know. Because I think we're going to put one that Derek and I, maybe, I talked to Derek, but I think we're going to put one that Derek and I just wrote called Kentucky Sunshine on and take another one off of this one. So I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Probably 10, maybe 9.
Well, you'll know by the time as you go along, you'll know. So Zach, who's your influence?
Shoot, anything from, like I said, kind of the old hair metal stuff. So Dokken, Firehouse, like guitar wise, George Lynch, Andy Timmons, that kind of stuff. And then up currently, I would say Casey Donahue, Co Wetzel, Cody Canada, a bunch of stuff like that. All that kind of Texas and Red Dirt kind of feel. Arlo McKinley, a couple of those guys, Corey Smith. So
Interesting. Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it starts back at, like David Bryan and Jack Connor, which was Jack Daniels' dad. Those first guys that made me want to write, which, I didn't realize how hard that would be. But, anymore, I listen to a lot of Blackberry Smoke. If you know me, you know who Blackberry Smoke is, or I'm going to tell you about him. Cody Jinks, a lot of that stuff. I listen to more lyrics, but, not only how the lyrics go, but how the song flows and, the stories that it tells. So there's one girl out of Nashville that I met when I was there. Her name's Tonya Reynolds, and she writes some amazing stuff. If you haven't heard of her, heard any of her music, check her out. But yeah, it's more of the stuff you haven't heard. If you look on my webpage, you'll see that's in my bio. My inspirations aren't the people you've heard of. So, it's a lot of the obscure, and, if you've heard of David Woolridge, well, there's one of them. So, yeah, that's about where I come from.
Nice.
And the other thing you said earlier about, you love how we all lift each other up. I think that's the mark of a real musician. Anytime you have a chance to reach out and just, as you're on your way up, you reach behind you, grab somebody else, and you pull them up too. I think that's really the mark of the true musician, is to know that we are a community, and no matter what kind of music you play, you have a crowd, and how can I help you? Rather than thinking this is a competition and I've got to knock you down to make myself better. That's not at all how any of us think in this circle.
No, I do know that about you guys. They're up, and there is a place for each type of music, especially in our community. There is a place for cover music, and for people that want to get out on the weekend and hit that dance floor and grab a beer and de-stress and just dance and listen to music that they know. There is that place for that. And there is a place for singer-songwriters. There's becoming more and more of a platform and more space for singer-songwriters, I think, than ever before. And I think that during COVID and also the winter months and the having to be secluded again and quarantined and on and off, back and forth for 2 years. I kind of like told everybody on our Facebook page that when this music scene comes back, it will look different. And it does. It's coming back, and it's coming back different. And times that music is played, those things have changed. Earlier shows are more desired. Am I right, Zakk?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know
Earlier
that.
shows are more desired than the late, 9 to 1 shows. And people just want to, and they want to hear, they just want to hear music that they can relate to. So I think when you guys, we bring you guys out and we share your stuff, and we, especially when you release an EP or something, it's like, hey, go, we have the links. Thankfully, you guys post the links so we can share that with other people, and they can go and go, who is this person? I'd never heard this around Champaign Urbana or whatever. So it's kind of tapping into you guys and bringing you, into this as well, to be a part of this music scene. So it's very cool.
Yeah, I've noticed like the Rose Bowl had shows at all hours. They'll have them like on Saturdays from 1 to 3 or 2 to 4, and then another one from 5 to 7, another one from 8 to 10 or something like that. Most of them don't really go late. I myself could go to a show that goes till midnight or 1, maybe on a Friday or Saturday night, but the other nights of the week I like them to be early because I have to work in the morning. But I've noticed a lot of bands, members of different bands getting together into new bands lately. Like I saw one last night called the Groove Lemons, which is a jazz band, which is made up of people who play all sorts of things, funk and jazz fusion and experimental rock, and they decided to all get together into this band and do some jazz. And they were really good.
Yeah,
So it's interesting what's happening.
I followed them on Instagram, and they talked about their show last night. But I think that's kind of the main thing. Is I feel like there's been a shift, and I feel like now the singer songwriters, those that are recording, there's been a lot of recording, whereas there really wasn't before. I think this downtime has been helpful in that way. And so there's been just more of an elevating of those that weren't really in the mainstream. That's being more elevated. And then also there's been a shifting of some bands have just like, they're done. And we lost quite a few bands during this time. They're just done. So what do you want from your followers? Do you want your music purchased the most, or do you want to come and be seen the most, or what is it that you want from them?
We'd like to build our own platform, and I know a singer-songwriter isn't it's not a new thing, but I think what we're doing is relatively new. And I don't know about that, but it's different. I do know that. And what I want to celebrate is not the person singing it, but the music that we're creating. I was just thinking about that the other day. It's more the words that, the words, the song that whenever you're down and out, that song agrees with you. That's what you needed to hear at that time. I want to touch people. I want to reach people on that level. I've had a guy, he called me or texted me over Messenger, and he was asking me about Gone Away and where I was when I wrote that, because he said it meant so much to him. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. It was just, really touched me. Yeah, we would like people to purchase our albums and come and see us. We love to see a full room. And we love to hear the feedback on what we're doing. But just for me personally, I say what we're doing is we're building something, and I can't wait to see where we are in 5 years, in 10 years, and where Dalton's going with recording and who he'll be recording. And we're kind of bringing Nashville here. You don't really have to go to Nashville. That was more of a feather in my hat. Like, cool, I went there and I recorded, but there are so many good musicians around here. If you watch the clips from Zakk's show up at Breakers, you know, you watch so many good musicians, good singers. We had Derek Price there. He is so talented, and he plays exactly what you want him to play without you knowing that you want him to play that. So there's so many good musicians around here. So I just can't wait to see where it goes.
You know, and you're right. And I'm just going to say this for we let Zakk Tomkins answer that question, but you're right as far as recording. You're 100% right. There's so many good studios here locally. Although I'm going to say Tom Brim and Bill Demkoff, they're my dear friends. I love them dearly, and they are exceptional at what they do. Absolutely exceptional. Bill is just like, he's just the shit. So I'm just gonna say that. I mean, Bill knows what he's doing. He is just so good. And when we were able to kind of like, I'm going to use the word sneak, but it may not be the right term, to go to a show at that floor place in Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was so good. It was so good to hear music and hear all you guys, you know, the artists and all of that singing their own. It was a beautiful time because people were listening.
Because we had the Black Eyed Lilies there, right? Did they play there that night
Yes.
or no?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay, they played
did.
there, and then they ended the night with ZMAs, and I used to play in a band called Background Noise back in 2001 to 2003, and we would open up for them. So that was really cool to watch that come full circle, and now I'm playing a show with them 20 years later. It was really cool.
It's crazy. So Zakk Tomkins.
Yeah, so just kind of to build on what you guys were talking about as far as what we're building here and everything. Yeah, obviously coming out and supporting the live music, you know, buying merchandise, downloading the tracks, putting them on your playlists on Spotify or iTunes, you know, whatever it is that you use to stream music. That stuff's all really, really important. And it's really nice. If I would say none of us would say, yeah, if we got a chance to go and do this or that, we all have hopes and dreams. It'd be awesome to, you know, go play some really big shows with some people that we really look up to. But I think at the end of the day, one of the things that I enjoy building around here for the most part is relationships. That's, you know, I love being up on stage, but I love just as much when I take a 10 or 15 minute break and I'm walking up to the bar or whatever to get something to drink, and somebody comes up to me and says, hey, you know, I love that song. I haven't heard that in forever, or that song that you wrote really touched me kind of in this specific way. You know, we were talking about that songwriter swap that we were all at. And I remember kind of standing at the back of the room while Black Eyed Lilies were playing. And I don't even remember if you remember that you said this or not, Lee, but I remember you making the statement while they were playing that they really make you feel something when they play. And that was kind of profound to me. I was like, that's obviously the goal of all of us, is to make you feel something when we play. And those guys definitely do that. They are phenomenal. But I think that's what we all want to do. And like I said, the relationships that we build when we're not on stage with people, because we had the opportunity to be up there and do that. Otherwise, I'm honestly fairly shy, and I'd probably just sit in the corner all night. So it's nice to get to be able to meet people and build those relationships and stuff. You know, I met Matt Miller and then Allison Lohman, just from being at that songwriter swap, and that's been awesome for me. I got to meet David and meet Dalton, his friend that was playing the steel guitar, all that kind of stuff. When we were at Mansfield recently, that was really cool. So, and then Derek Price is putting out several singles for me, and that having his writing and kind of his influence on pulling different, like Dalton was talking about, pulling different elements into what we're doing, outside of just me and my guitar, has been awesome. So
okay, so Derek is working with you on some writing.
So Derek's doing producing and stuff for me, so I'm still writing everything. And then I've got a single coming out March 9th. It's called Shine Your Light. It's a song that I wrote for my dad. And so that'll be out March 9th. You can start pre-saving it February 9th on all platforms. And then the plan from there on out is to release 5 or 6 more singles throughout the next, basically every 30 days, we'll be releasing a single until August. And that'll kind of finish with the first debut EP that's going to be called Howl at the Moon.
Nice. Very good. So you've got some goals and you're just going after it.
Yeah,
David.
Yeah.
David, what is it you want from people to hear you?
I want people to come to the shows, actually, because once they come to the show and if they like your stuff, then you can sell CDs and t-shirts. They'll buy the merchandise. I mean, I played a party over the summer, last summer, and I sold out all my t-shirts and all my CDs. So, I mean, I got to where I really like the listening rooms, singer-songwriter stuff over bars, because bars are just noise to people talking. So,
Well, like Jeb Brown.
that's
Right.
yeah.
Jeb has a
Best place I've ever played. That is, and everybody, your family there. You know, if you're in with Jeb in the Backroom Lounge, you're part of the family. You know, they call it the congregation. Everybody, when you come, in fact, they got signs and everything in where it's shut the F up and
Yeah.
listen. I think T.J. Hernandez even wrote a song for him, but you know, that's true, and but it's really odd to play when everything's totally quiet and everybody's eyes are on you. So
yeah, because you're like, yeah.
Sure. I know everybody there, and I know that they like me okay, but it's just like, you know, it's hard to get used to. But those are the best things. And I got a few little bars around that I really like to play because people actually listen to you. But there's some place, like I played this one place, and there wasn't a whole lot of people there, and they all went to the back room and played the slots and everything. And they were clearing the back room, and I couldn't even hear myself because they were so loud. I was like, I think we packed that one up early, and the guy wanted us to come back, but we never did. It's like, I ain't doing that again.
Yeah, that's really frustrating. And I know sometimes when you guys go live, somebody will go live for you guys, and all I can hear is the people in the bar, and I'm like, I forget it. I'm done. I'm done.
Listening so much is just being so loud that I can't hear myself. And if I can't hear myself with the PA and everything, then they're loud.
Yeah. So Dalton, what's your goals then? With what do you want? I'm sure, because if you're recording, you want people to buy that up and just to really, you know, the acknowledgement of where it was recorded. What do you have a name of your recording?
Not yet. That's kind of in the process. I plan to have one by the time we get his released. I want a universal name. I'll be moving in a couple of years, so I gotta have a universal name. So if I move, you know, but
don't move too far, Dalton. Maybe to record with you.
I know it's up in the air right now, but you know, for me, I just want my artists to be heard. Whoever it is, I want them to be heard and want them to be appreciated, because for the most part, these singer-songwriters are writing from their heart and like their traumas and, you know, stuff that they've lived through. So I want people to appreciate how open they are with their writing. So any way I can express musically like their feelings is my goal. So what I want most is just whoever I'm recording, I want them to be heard and appreciated.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really cool. Yeah.
Well,
That's great.
I don't think he understands how hard he's going to work when my CD gets released, because he is sending stuff to radio stations, internet radio stations, and he's going to be busy. He thinks he just gets to record and be done.
Which brings me to another question: is distribution of your music. How simple or how complicated is that?
It's hard.
And are you the ones that do that?
Yeah, I've done everything like that myself. I'm just too dumb to figure everything out. It's hard.
I'm a people person. I'm looking forward to that. I like building relationships any way I can. So I actually look forward to stuff. So
So Dalton, okay, let's say that you didn't, let's say for instance, Zakk records something. All right.
Okay.
He doesn't get it recorded with you, but he has something recorded. Would you be into distributing that? Or does it always have to be just the person that records?
Oh no, I would absolutely distribute for anyone. If anyone reached out and just wanted me to go try to make connections, I could easily do that. That's I would anybody who wants help in any way, I'd be offering it. Because like I said, these guys work their tails off at what they do, and I just feel like most of them are underappreciated. I remember the first time I saw him at Breakers, I was making so much eye contact with him, and he kept looking at me. I felt like he's thinking, "Who's this weirdo staring at me?" Because
What are you looking at?
I go to listen. I don't go to talk and socialize. There's time for talking whenever they take their 10-minute, 15-minute break. But when they're playing, I want them to at least be like someone is listening.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with that. When I go to hear, singer song, now if I'm going to hear a cover band, I'm a dance. I'm out there to dance. That's what I'm there for. But when I go to hear a singer songwriter, somebody with original music, I want, and I too am, and I've always kind of been this way, I guess. But when I hear a song or some lyrics that are just so, it's like, are you guys hearing this? I told David this the other day. I'm like, do people not realize these lyrics? Are they not seeing this? They're not hearing this? How could they not know these lyrics are so freaking amazing? Like Lee, like there's a song that he has, his lyrics just, I'm just like, it blows my mind. They're very clever and they're very well put. They're not just cheesy, cheeky songs, and they're really, you guys, all of you guys, I think, honestly, I've been watching a lot of Waylon Jennings documentaries and stories about Waylon and of course Johnny and blah blah blah, all those guys who are just like, that's what I compare you guys to. I think you're our time, those guys. That's what I think.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And my song, sad, really sad. The pain's real though. I live them. But sometimes people want to dance and have a good time or hear some fast songs, but it's kind of hard.
There's
to do.
something I have noticed. There's something I have noticed that bands that have a lot of original music have a following. They have a lot of people who follow them and get buy their records and know their original music, and they come to their shows, and they're usually, I shouldn't say usually, but often there's just those people in the crowds, people who want to hear covers, don't come to their shows so much. Some bands mix them up. They play covers and original music, and they get larger crowds. One person who does a lot of covers, but also writes a lot of original music, was playing at Memphis on Main one night, and he jokingly said to me, should we play our original music in the first set and drive everybody off? Or should we play it in the second set when everybody's gone already anyway?
That's sad.
And
That is sad.
Yeah, I understand that though. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So-
I think, yeah, distributing, I think, is really hugely important. I've been thinking this past year a lot about that, because we can only, we have a huge reach. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty crazy and incredible. And we keep growing and growing and growing. Even in the midst of COVID, we had still people that were engaging on the page and all of that. But I always feel like it's not enough. I never feel like it's enough, but I guess that would be because you can photograph, you can video, and you can talk about, but I can't convey how it makes me feel, as Zakk was talking about, or Lee was talking about. That's what it does with me, is there's a feeling. and I chase it. Like I honestly chase it because it's just, it just really touches me. Now if I want to just, you know, have a few beers and hit the dance floor, I'm probably not going to go come and see you guys, but I have all of your music on my on our song list, on CU Bands and Fans song list. We purchase, even though you guys give us the music, we go and purchase it anyway to show support. So we're looking forward, Zakk, to yours coming out. We're definitely looking forward to David's new one coming out in midsummer. You'll make us wait that long. And Lee, what do you got going on?
Let's see. We are actually, I was thinking about this. I've been talking to David and Zakk and Jack, and there's a guy that used to be around here. I'm sorry, Hughes. I'm sorry. Say his name for me.
Evan.
Evan Hughes. Okay. I
Evan,
just grew
yeah.
up like I know him, but he's been wanting us to come down and do a singer songwriter showcase, like a in the round kind of thing down at the club that he's at. What is it called? Sidetracks. So David and I have been talking about going over and hitting another area in West Virginia where we have some fans over there that this Ernie Robinson that picked up David and then started following all of us. So we're trying to figure out how we can go and do that. I'm going to be doing a guitar foodie with Tom Grimm at his studio in Nashville. That's in April 23rd, I think. I can't remember exact day on that, but I know it's
So cool.
it's in April. So yeah, I've got some exciting things coming up. I was put up to audition for America's Got Talent. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So
I'm glad you brought that up because I seen that post. So I was like, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm a medic, and me and my supervisor were sitting in the office one day, and he said, "Have you ever thought about doing one of those?" I said, "Well, you know, it's not really something I've ever considered because you know those. I just don't know about those shows. I'd just rather do everything organic." And he's like, "Well, I'm not giving you the option," and he started just signing me up. So I'm like, he said, "Just look at it this way: if you don't like it, you don't do anything, you don't make it on there, whatever, at least you've got something, you've got an experience, or maybe you got more followers." So I don't think anything bad can happen from it. So we'll see. I auditioned and I should hear something in the spring, but I'm not really counting my chickens on that. I'm just going to keep on grinding like I am and keep on playing the shows that I'm doing.
Yeah, keep your focus. Keep your focus on what you got happening here. So a question for each of you. If there was, who would you like to sing one of your songs? It would be anybody in the world, your choice. Who would it be? Let's start with Lee.
Oh, I don't, trying to think of that one. Anyone in the world alive or dead, I guess.
Now they gotta be alive.
They gotta be alive.
David's
I guess
putting stipulations.
It would be an honor because Blackberry Smoke's my favorite, probably for them to do one of my songs. So that would be an honor that would be chilling. And the cool thing about this is that Drew Smithers, which has been touring with Charlie Starr and doing some solo shows, and he's been doing some things on stage with him. He's actually on my CD. So I mean that's really cool that I have one link between my favorite band and me. So
that
so
is really cool. So
Yeah.
let's back up for a second. You guys wait just a minute to answer. So who was on your CD?
So I had Future Man Roy Wooten, which has played with Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. He played
He's
all
badass. Mhm.
yes, and such
He's in
a
the
cool
town here, yeah.
such a cool down to earth guy. If you've never heard of Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, look him up. Then I had Josh Hunt, which is Alison Krause's drummer, stop by, and at the very end of Long Road, you can hear like a cajon, and that was Josh Hunt playing on that. And then of course Drew Smithers, and then I came back here, and then I had Dyke Corson put down some pedal steel on there from Corson's music. And who else does he play with? The Boat Drunks.
Boat Drunks.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Dyke, everybody knows Dyke. Yeah, Dyke's
Right.
awesome.
Bill was on bass. Tom did some guitar on there, and then Joe Aslin did harmonica and a little bit of guitar on Long Road. And then I had Lily do some vocals on Gone Away. So that's I think that's a full list.
And they were all present or at different times in the recording.
In Nashville, I had Future Man because he lives down there, and Drew Smithers and Josh Hunt. So those were the three down there. Of course, Tom and Bill. And then up here, I had we took those recordings and took them to Matt Talbot's studio in Tolono, and that's where Dyke Corson and Joe Aslin and everybody else came in.
Okay, well, I didn't even know you could do that. That's really cool.
Yeah, like you said, Bill is a pretty good at what he does.
Yeah, he's he's actually excellent. So I'm going to give him the kudos on that. Okay, Zakk, anybody in the world alive, David says they have to be alive.
Fair enough. I thought I was gonna have enough time to think about that, but it's still hard. Shoot, I'd probably say Casey Donahue. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
If I could get something cut, that's kind of one of the original guys, you know, older iconic from the genre and stuff that I really enjoy. So I would say that'd probably be who it would be.
Cool. David?
Well, I've been thinking too. I'm not sure. I love Jamie Johnson, so I'll go with Jamie Johnson. Maybe the Steel Woods, because Lee's plugging his favorite Blackberry Smoke, which I love those guys too. But I think the Steel Woods might edge them just a little bit in my like category, because I think Wes Bayless that sings for him is awesome. They got good. I think those two guys.
Didn't the Still Woods, did they lose someone?
Their guitar player.
Rowdy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was sad.
They
Yeah.
have a show coming up pretty soon in this area.
So that leads me to my next question, and that is, if you could play anywhere in the world, where would you play? Lee, start with you.
Oh, well, we got to start with me. I've been starting small. I really want to play where David was just talking about. I would really like to play at the Backroom Lounge. Like you said, the crowd there, they're there to listen. Ultimate goal. I mean, I guess who wouldn't want to play at the Grand Ole Opry? But I mean, I just feel like these smaller places, and the places that I've already played. There's 1905 is one of my favorites because people are there to listen. But I would say Backroom Lounge is my next goal to be at.
Wow, Zakk?
Yeah, I would agree. I think Backroom Lounge is definitely one that I would really, really like to play at, especially if at some point, if it ever fell together where I got a chance to do like a songwriter swap or share the stage with Lee and David and Jack or whatever, just because that's kind of my little group that got me going, and Matt Miller, Derek Price, that's what means the most to me out of all this. So if I had a chance to go play somewhere like that those guys have played, that'd be awesome. I would say outside of that, probably Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, Texas.
David?
Where would I like to play, Dalton?
I don't know.
Eddie's Attic, maybe.
Where is that?
Georgia. Charlie Starr does a lot of solo stuff there. Then it's this songwriter, country artist I know he's played there a couple times. His name's Thomas Fountain. He's really good. It looks like I've never been there. I don't know much about it. It just looks like a cool place. So I can't think anything else. I'd say it's probably where I'd like to play.
Dalton, where would you like to see your dad play?
Where would I like to see him play?
Uh-huh.
I honestly couldn't tell you off the top of my head. There's my favorite live video I've ever watched is Jack White. I don't know what it is. It's Live from the Basement. So wherever that is, that'd be a pretty cool place. Pretty going any.
Basement East in Nashville, Tennessee.
It is.
Yep.
I see. I've never even thought to look it up. Have you seen the video? It seems like a really, really
I've
cool.
seen it. Yeah, I think it's one of those places too that when people go, they're like you say, they're there to listen, you know. And so I think it looks like a really cool place. Yeah. If you don't mind, Terry, I got a question. So Dalton, we all know where we'd want to play, or who do we want to play for? Who would you want to produce? Like, who would be your person or an artist that you really like that you'd like to produce something for?
I would honestly love to produce for George Clinton. I love funk. I am obsessed with funk, and there's no one better, the godfather of funk. Well, James Brown's the godfather of funk, but him, Bootsy Collins, any of those guys, that's lively stuff, and it seems like it'd be so fun to record and just mix and master that. Don't laugh at me. George Clinton's the man.
It seemed like most of the band members did want to do, you know, all this other stuff, and the person that was putting the band together was like, it's just unacceptable unless it's like really funk.
That's the problem, Terry. You can't play the funk. You have to feel the funk.
You gotta feel
You gotta feel it. Gotta move through you.
Oh my God, you're so right. You are so right. David, how long have you been doing music?
Well,
You wrote Johnny and Mary like when I was born.
Johnny Mary's like a 30-year-old song almost.
No kidding.
Yeah, we wrote that in the early to mid 90s. It was a little before your time.
Yeah, so I wasn't even born yet.
I've been around it all my life. You know, I sang in school and all that stuff, and I always wanted to be like my uncles. But I didn't actually pick up the guitar till I got out of school, and I learned just enough to write a song. That's what I wanted to be, a songwriter. So did that, and wrote songs for a couple years, got married, put it on the back burner, got separated, started playing music again, and so it's been
Got divorced and wrote a song.
that's right. Wasn't like it was, you know, I didn't have time for all that.
Yeah, that's
So I thought, man, I'm either going to get in trouble or I'm going to do something productive.
well, I'm glad you chose the productive. I'm really glad, because we're the beneficiary. You know, we benefit from that. And as your music is really, you know how I feel about you. You know how I feel about your music. You are intensely and deeply to the soul, truly a songwriter. And I appreciate that so much about you. I look forward to, I know that all of you guys are going to you've already done great things. You're going to do even greater things. And I just hope and pray that we can do the best that we can by you, by letting people, allowing people to find you, see you, hear you. I think once they hear you, that's it. You've got a follower. You know, you've got a fan.
We hope.
That's all it takes is for one click, but getting that attention to get that click,
I want to say that we really appreciate what you and Zakk do for the music community too. You help so many people. So without you guys doing what you do, I'm telling where we'd probably be done playing and sitting at home or something. So
no, I doubt that. It's too much in your soul to let it sit dormant. There's no way. You'd find a way, you know. We just hopefully, thankfully, graciously, we've able to build what we built. I don't know how all that happened. Like, I was sitting there today because I got a phone call this morning, which I got to talk to you about, Zakk, but I got a phone call this morning, and it just kind of like, it just blew me away a little bit. So, you know, things are growing. They are. If everybody just hang on, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Things are opening up in different ways. It's just not the same way. That's all. It's just different ways, and it's cool. It's gonna be great. But I really appreciate you being on here, Dalton. And especially answering those questions about distributing and things like that. It takes somebody that has that kind of knowledge, that kind of technical skills, that kind of networking and connections to get your stuff distributed. That's so hugely important. So I'm glad that you got kind of a passion for it, and you're young enough, seriously, to have the energy too. Is it takes a lot of energy. I'm not lying. It does. So I really appreciate what you're doing. I cannot wait to hear what you're doing with your dad's music, how it's going to sound, how it all comes together.
These guys are the real artists. I want to do whatever I can to get their stuff out there, because like I said, they put their heart and soul into stuff, and I love getting to listen to them, and I especially love getting to make it with them. So
yeah, you want to do them justice. And that, I guess that's what I was saying about, like, on our page. I want to do them justice. I don't.
And I'll say this, when it comes to the kids, you know, like the kids under your next generation, Dalton doing what he does, John David Daly and his son doing what they do. You know, my daughter is actually, she plays piano, ukulele, and she's got a guitar, but she's always in there messing around with her piano. And so to watch your next generation, and you're empowering and you're inspiring, you know, that next generation. So it's really just an awesome thing to see.
It is to see, and that's something that we've talked about too with our app. You know, that was one of the reasons for the app, is because kids, you know, they love them apps, so they can go right to that app and go. You know, they had no idea this stuff was going on because they're not on Facebook, you know, checking that kind of thing out. So they click on that app, and it's like, well, that's a whole new world. You know, it's not new to us, but it's new to them. So that'll kind of reach more of that audience. And then if the few bands that have come up and coming in 2020, but they spent time just working on their own music, was Ancient Ways. They're young. They're all young. And
is that Garrett Gunther?
Uh-huh.
Is that okay?
Yeah. And they see the Hangovers. They're all young. And they're coming out with this really great music as a band. So it's cool to see that.
You know who I like as a young artist, and the young band, is Drew Cagle. I think that kid is fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for bringing him up, because so I went and did photos for them for their upcoming CD release they had in October, and it was so cool to do them photos, because those guys kind of look like that 70-ish look a little bit, and Drew sounds like one of the you know, 70s artists. His voice is so kind of old school rock.
I really love it. He's a good songwriter himself. So
yeah, they're really good. So we got a lot. There's a lot. But so we're gonna go ahead and close this down. I think we went over an hour again. But that's okay. We appreciate you guys. I'm gonna close this out. It's been great talking to you guys. Don't anybody go anywhere yet. Okay. I'm just gonna stop recording. So,
thanks,
all right. Thank you guys. Hang on.